I kind of want to communicate what the trees say to other people. I sort of gave them personalities and human traits in a way. So I think the lessons that I'd like to teach other people from trees are quite sort of like human lessons anyway, like how they work in groups, how they support each other, how their ecosystems are about everyone, not just a single tree. I was interested in contrasting myself as a moving image in contrast with a static landscape. I think that's a really beautiful like juxtaposition. So I began making videos of beautiful landscapes just with figures walking through, myself static in a static landscape and just playing around with the two images really. And I found myself really comfortable in trees and in small copses like this. I found really serene places with a hectic, crazy motion going on in between, like a really interesting thing to play with. So becoming a tree kind of emerged from that really, trying to merge myself in with the environment but also playing with being apart from it as well. I did a series of just still photographs where I wore all black against silhouetted trees, so you could just see hair and face, and I'd wrap myself around the trees. So, initially you can't really see a figure, but then when you look closely, one of the knots in a tree is a shoulder blade, or a branch is actually my arm, and I felt really comfortable doing that and felt more natural. I kind of understood where I came from in a way, and my sort of like spiritual journey with becoming a tree started. I start to think about nature, I start to think about where it comes from, where we come from, where everything comes from, and it gives me space to really explore everything. It's a very charged place to be. There's so much stuff, even if it might just seem like a tree, a pile of leaves. It sends my mind into overdrive completely. It's where I naturally gather ideas, I suppose, and questions. I think questions are a main part of my practice, and a lot of questions are on a lot of people's minds all the time, and I think answering them alone can be really nice, so that you can share them with other people. I started this project in the autumn of 2011, I think, and the leaves everywhere were red. It was very sort of like vibrant time. That's when I was playing the most in trees. I was exploring, I was connecting back to sort of when we used to live in trees. It's a really exciting time. And then gradually as the winter came, I found sort of like solace in trees. Everything quietened down a lot. I spent a lot of time reflecting in the cold under trees. It probably seems mad to just sit and freeze under a tree, but in a way I felt myself sort of, that's where becoming a tree really sort of started. The phrase jumped into my head, I wanted to be a tree. The winter can be a really dark, lonely place, and I think I found a respect in trees. They're so resolute, all their leaves fall off, they're naked, but they're still there, standing, and I was almost jealous. I wanted to attain that quality. I wanted to become a tree. I like sort of trying to explain what I do. If people don't understand it, I really don't mind, I find a lot of people really receptive to a lot of my work, even if they don't really understand it. I think the visual often takes over, and they can appreciate the beauty in it, even if they don't understand the theory behind it or why I do it, especially my video work. I I think people appreciate that, you know, I do have a train of thought. They might not understand it, but they still like the visual beauty of it. If people really challenge me on my work, you know, I'll challenge them back. My work is about trying to connect people together, really. It's about trying to make people think in a more collective way, in a way of we're all in it together, we're all trying to do something together. So if someone's particularly anti that, I generally don't mind. that's their prerogative. I'll try and change them, but you can't change everyone. The sermon came from creating this leaf dress. It's almost like a costume, like a priest would wear. You know, you get dressed up in the colours of your sort of place of worship. And I wanted other people to understand what I was understanding from my research of spending time with trees. So I donned this dress in the middle of winter. It's freezing cold, but I wanted to wear the tree's leaves where it wasn't, and I took them back and I wore its leaves for it and sort of like sung its praise, because people often see trees in the winter and, you know, they have their beauty and they seem to be dead, but it's just not the same. People don't have the same sort of like relationship and connection with them, and I wanted to sort of take people into an environment that sort of explained that, take them to a place and say they're still alive, they're still here, they're still helping us. I guess to see the beauty in winter. A lot of people get really down in the winter, get really sad, everything seems dead and cold, but I wanted to remind them that actually everything's still alive, it's just different, it's still beautiful. We've kind of become disconnected from nature in modern society. There's this barrier between us now. We know so much about the world, we've forgotten how to be in the world, how to be part of nature. We cut down trees all the time, recklessly, without thinking that years and years ago we lived in them. They were our life source. So yeah, I wanted to sort of get back to that.